What's up, everyone? This is Kronos, aka Adam, back with a very somber edition of my WWE Week in Review. I've also posted my AEW Week in Review, but unfortunately, news broke after I posted it that Brodie Lee, aka Luke Harper, aka Jon Huber, has passed away from I believe his wife said, a non-COVID related lung disease. He had been off television for several months. What I thought was some kind of ankle injury, and obviously the Dark Order has been, kind of working through him not being on TV. But yeah, just absolutely devastating. Obviously, thoughts go out to his friends, family, the industry, all wrestling posted a nice tribute to him, and all through social media, all you've ever heard is not a single bad word about him. Like a gentle giant, just a guy that was a great person, not just a wrestler, a great father, great husband, and just really sad, unexpected, and as if 2020 couldn't be any worse and take any more away from us, and not just in this industry, but just in general. It's really, really terrible. So yeah, just I don't know exactly how to segue from that, but as always, what I like to do is go over everything that happened in Raw, NXT, Smackdown, give as much detail as I can, as if you didn't watch it and you didn't have time to watch it. You can just chill out here for about 30 minutes, get everything you need. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. Just if you have any stories about Jon Huber, Brodie Lee, love to hear them. It's just terrible, absolutely terrible. So, with that being said, I'm just going to jump right in and try to, do the best I can here. So we start out with Raw. Charlotte comes out to the ring. Apparently, Asuka is her best friend, even though, I don't really know exactly where they stand, and most likely Charlotte's just angling to get a title shot. Asuka apparently is the heartbeat of the division, she says. I believe that, but I don't believe Charlotte believes that. Asuka comes out. Flair's about to ask her about the Raw title, you could see. Then Shayna and Nia come out. Nia makes fun of Flair's robotic voice. Then Mandy and Dana come out. Shayna and Nia are not the champs anymore. Step aside. It was very bad written dialogue. And then Flair is asking for a referee. It was very awkward. We then find out there's going to be a commercial for Raw Legends Night in 2 weeks, so I don't know exactly what's going on there. So we got a tag team match, Shayna and Nia versus Mandy and Dana. Asuka and Flair are on commentary. They're just being too best friendy all of a sudden. It's very awkward. Nia's all over Dana to start. Head scissors to Nia by Dana. Stereo cross bodies from Mandy and Dana. We had an awful sequence with Mandy and Nia. She basically barely gets hit and then falls out of the ring. It was very weird. Back from break, Mandy's taking heat. Mandy eventually builds up some momentum, hits a V-trigger on Shayna. Dana gets a blind tag, top rope senton, but then Nia pulls her off the cover. We had a clutch on Dana eventually for the win, so any kind of, push for Mandy and Dana as a tag team really, obviously, is now, I don't see it, I don't understand it, why they would have them win, because Shayna and Nia, I feel like they should just be broken up and be individual wrestlers. But that being said, it was just really bad all around. The wrestling wasn't that great. Commentary and then the burying of Dana and Mandy. I was not thrilled with this overall. But then Mandy and Dana do a post-match attack on Nia and Shayna and stand tall. So, once again, still don't understand. Earlier today, we get the Hurt Biz arriving. There's a production assistant walking with a New Day shirt. Lashley rips it off him and they put a Hurt Business shirt on him. VIP Lounge, the Champs Edition. Cedric cuts off Shelton, which I think is funny. Lashley rocking the shit out of an ascot. No one alive can beat him for the U.S. title. MVP brought in a special photographer to commemorate this occasion. Truth apparently is behind them photobombing. Then the 24/7 locker room comes out chasing. Hardy's music hits. He's out with Riddle. Riddle says there's some just nonsense, awful written dialogue. Shouldn't be spending money and should be instead doing, I guess, stoner type things, and we're all just, I don't even get it. Then Hardy says character matters, something about faith. This was absolutely horrifically written, and this is their response to the worst ratings almost in their history. All the rumors of heads are rolling, all this stuff being changed. It was terrible. Drew Gulak versus Angel Garza. Angel's at gorilla position. Gives Sarah a rose and hitting on her. She's married. Garza takes off the pants early, uses a distraction, super kick into a clipper for the win. Remember when Drew Gulak was like a intercontinental contender? Yeah, I don't either. AJ and Amos are backstage. AJ's mad about Miz cashing in. Miz screwed him, and AJ has a big gash on his face from TLC. But then he's asked why did he agree to be on Miz TV? He says he wants to hear what Miz has to say. So we get Miz TV out. AJ is his guest. Miz says he failed himself and his family and he's sorry. Tells AJ he took advantage of an opportunity. AJ says he's selfish and incompetent. Miz absolutely goes off. No one respects him or cares about him. And he apologized and he blew it. I thought this was great because this is all the kind of stuff that people really are saying about Miz, even though I happen to like Miz a lot. I think he actually has a lot more than he's given, even though he's been there for almost 15 years and his main event at WrestleMania, Money in the Bank twice, 1.5, whatever you want to call it. Multiple-time Intercontinental Champion, multiple-time Tag Team Champion, U.S. Champion. I mean, he's done it all, and he's actually pretty good in the ring when they give him something to work with, but clearly they just don't want him to do that. So he says he has a holiday gift. He's going to put AJ as a star in the next Marine movie where there's a movie poster, and it's Amos is prominently featured, and AJ is basically like a speck. Almost actually blames Morrison. AJ and Morrison have some stupid argument, and then Miz wants his contract back because he actually says, you know what, you're right. John Morrison was the one, and people have said this, and it's like such an awful idea. So anyway, Drew comes out, had a celebration with Lee and Sheamus, said had a sequel to read for the Nightmare Before TLC, and Sheamus and Lee come out, and they're reading parts of it, and they were going to make a new finish in the Holiday Street Fight. A brawl breaks out. AJ drop kicks Lee into Sheamus, and they start arguing and almost fighting, and Drew breaks them up. We had a recap of Retribution trying to recruit Ricochet throughout the past couple of months. Sheamus and Lee are arguing backstage. Drew breaks them up. Drew gets Sheamus to calm down and reassures Lee for tonight. We get Dijak or T-Bar versus Ricochet. Retribution's at ringside. Ricochet takes an early advantage. Immediately, Dijak takes over. Slapjack and Mace distract. Dijak takes him out. Ali tries to recruit him again. Rick attacks him. We then get the Feast Your Eyes by Dijak for the win. And then Dijak speaks something, they are not his enemy, but join or end, they'll end his existence. So clearly that might be kind of enemy-ish, enemy light, enemy adjacent, I don't know. Earlier today with the New Day, they've lost in the past, but that doesn't mean anything because they've always been able to win their way back. And apparently Kofi cracked 2 teeth during the match. We then get this tag match, MVP and Lashley versus Hardy and Riddle. Riddle's taking heat for a little while. Hot tag to Hardy. We get bro tree in motion on Lashley. An assisted floating bro on MVP. Hardy gets shoved off the top by Lashley. That looked really bad. Hardy is he's just taking some really awful bumps. Desperation Whisper in the win on MVP. Hot tag to Riddle. We get a Fisherman Buster broken up by Lashley. Riddle, a tope takes out the Hurt Business. Hardy misses a swanton, goes for a twist of fate, but that misses, and then Lashley gets the Hurt Lock for the win. So Hurt Business just standing super tall right now, and I love it. And I think the Hardy Bros are a good tag team. I just think what they have written for dialogue is just absolutely horrific. AJ, Miz, and Morrison arguing backstage. We get Elias in the ring with Jackson Riker. If you haven't bought his music, it's only because you haven't heard it. Riker versus Grand Metalik. Elias is trying to play and sing during the match. Grand Metalik hits an Avalanche Rana on him, and then Riker hits a sit-out choke bomb for the win. So, yay. Randy comes out to the ring. He's been called a lot of things, and he proved them all true last night. He has no regrets since the Fiend is no man, and he's not normal. He's talking about how he murdered the Fiend, and he's smiling about it, which I think is kind of funny. The Fiend is gone, no more. The lights go out, and then a Moment of Bliss swing set is set up in the ring with her swinging. Everyone's wondering where he is. Bliss is making burn puns. He's basically been absorbed into the ground or the mat. He's home, and if he comes back, it'll be like nothing you've ever seen before. That's what she says to Randy. Charlotte and Asuka versus Lacey and Peyton. Of course, because Lacey and Peyton, they're trying to make a thing for no reason for breaking up the Iconics, but once again, Peyton and Lacey asked for this match, apparently, not waiting for opportunities, but then Peyton, as Lacey walks through the curtain, Peyton turns back and says she wants to make it clear that she's the one who asked for the match, and she had been posting stuff on social media about not wanting to wait or anything. Shayna and Nia are watching backstage. We get back from break. Asuka's taking heat. Peyton tags herself in. Lacey does the same thing to her, so they're going back and forth, tagging each other in, showing that they're not really a tag team, and they obviously have a lot of chemistry issues. They're arguing. We get a hot tag to Flair. Peyton using the distraction to get a single leg crab. Asuka breaks it up. Eventually, the figure eight on Peyton by Charlotte Flair for the win. Okay. And then we get our main event, the Holiday Street Fight. AJ, Miz, and Morrison versus Drew, Sheamus, and Lee. I just thought this was a little ridiculous because Drew and Sheamus took on the three of them and basically won last time. So I don't even know what they needed Lee for, but this is supposed to be even. Miz is on the phone trying to get the contract back. AJ hangs up his phone, and then they leave to go to the match. Morrison targets the injured knee of Drew from TLC. Glasgow Kiss. Drew and Lee toss suplex on Morrison. Sheamus and Lee working together, but getting a little too physical, like slapping each other on the back for congratulations. Drew plays moderator there. We get stereo 10 beats on Miz and Morrison from Drew and Sheamus. Miz and Morrison are tossed into the presence. Lee has nothing to do on separate occasions. He kind of just walks into the ring. He's like, okay, and then walks back out. AJ with the distraction. Sheamus sent through a table on the outside by Morrison. Sheamus is taking heat. We get a desperation white noise by Sheamus on AJ. Hot take to Drew. Everyone getting their spot in. AJ with a candy cane kendo stick on Drew's knee. AJ set into the Christmas tree, then through a table. Each face tags themselves in for the match. Amos catches Morrison and then puts him through a table. Then we get a spirit bomb on Miz for the win. And as they celebrate, Sheamus bro kicks Lee in the face. And Lee and Drew is pissed off at him, and he's like, I vouch for you, blah, blah, blah. So obviously this is more and more, dissension between those groups. We then go to NXT. We get, for the tag titles, a street fight between Burch and Lorcan and Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. Dane and Maverick attack Burch and Lorcan on the ramp. Dane sent by both into the plexiglass. But there's tagging in the street fight, which makes no sense. Just like there was in the previous street fight on Raw, which was also an issue that people had, where it was just they're being really nice about it, and it's a street fight though. There's no reason to even tag in because there's no disqualification. So there was kind of the same thing going on in this match. Oni is backdropped on a chair by Dane. Dane is using Maverick as a weapon. Great double teaming by the challengers. Oni blockbuster on Dane on the outside. Maverick drop toe hold onto the chair. Dane puts himself through a table. Maverick taking heat, getting whipped, which was looking rough and sounding rough. Dane emerges to clean house. We get a powerbomb on Burch. Dane falls on tables that were set up on the outside, but it doesn't break, and it just looks bad. It kind of falls and slides off them, and now he's supposedly taken out for the rest of the match. More whipping on Maverick. We get a low blow by Maverick. He's whipping them. Oni returns the low blow, and then Burch with the cricket bat. The champs do their assisted spike DDT on Maverick for the win, and then Dane has to basically still sell that he's injured, even though he never went through the tables. We get the Gargano's house. This was actually one of the funniest parts, or best parts of the week also. So we get Johnny playing the piano. Indy and Austin are at their home. Austin's not allowed to say Jose, something about no way Jose. Austin gets a gift, and it's the Gargano whey protein, which I think is hysterical. We get a recap of Finn and O'Reilly, their match. They're actually watching and reacting to it, and it was actually really cool. We get Tyler Rust and Bivens backstage interview. Bivens is pumping him up, calling him a diamond in the rust. Hold on. Just checking here. Alright, and then we get Swerve and Atlas, a rematch from the previous 2 weeks ago, when Swerve obviously was very upset by the win. He's got a really nice long coat now. I like that look. Swerve turns up the aggression. We come back from break. Swerve is in control. We get a float over Code Red by Atlas. That looked really cool for a 2 count. Atlas hits a stunner. Goes for the cartwheel DDT, but is countered with a super kick. We get a power-up brainbuster by Swerve for a 2 count. Swerve getting a little too cocky now. We get an avalanche poison Rana. Swerve lands on his feet, though. That was really cool looking visual. House call kick, and then a bunch of pinning attempts back and forth. Eventually, Swerve hits the JML driver for the win. Swerve with the suck it, and then Swerve actually tries to shake hands. Atlas isn't having it, and then Swerve is trying to be like, oh, what's wrong, even though he was the one who had the bad attitude on the loss last time. I assume there's going to be one more match between them. Cole and Strong interview backstage. Result for Kyle will be different this time. Dream returns and crashes the interview out of nowhere, says how the mighty have fallen, and then Kyle is actually the head of the stake. Cole slaps him, says there's no leader here, and then Cole challenges Dream tonight. I don't know what this was about. I mean, I don't even know why Dream is still on television at this point. So, Thatch talking about Ciampa backstage. You know, they came. Ciampa came to his face. Ciampa walked away from him. No respect. Says he's going to beat Ruff tonight and challenges Ciampa to stop him. And then we get Rhea Ripley versus Dakota Kai. And Raquel is banned as per Regal per some Twitter exchange earlier in the day. Rhea sent into the post, shoulder first. Kai's in control during picture-in-picture. Ripley starts to fight back. Kai hits a scorpion kick. We get an electric chair slammed by Rhea for a 2 count. Casadora is countered into a reverse cloverleaf by Rhea. Raquel is at the top of the ramp staring. Kai gets to the ropes on the cloverleaf. Kai fights off a superplex, hits a chiropractor for a 2 count. Riptide gets countered, but Rhea eventually is able to hit the Riptide for the win. Raquel shoving the refs on her way to the ring as they try to break it up. Rhea gets bleeped. I don't know if she said what she said, but she definitely was there saying something bad. A brawl breaks out between the two of them. The refs break it up, but really can't hold them because they keep just getting at each other. We get another shot of the Garganos backstage. At their home. Indy in the neck brace on the stocking, which I think was a very funny touch. There's a PS5 for Indy, but the gift, it's actually an empty box, and the gift is actually giving her the name Indie Wrestling, that we support you. And then Austin's reactions during this whole thing are hysterical. Tony backstage interview. She's dressed awesome with like the hair, the jacket, the hat. It looks awesome. She says Io is terrified of her. Beat her in the Mae Young Classic. We get a Bronson video package. We get a more training torture package with Xia Li and Boa. She's working on the Wing Chun dummy again. More kendo shots with Boa. Xia is beating the shit out of Boa, and he's wanting more of it. Another partial facial shot of the woman in charge, but once again, we don't get a really good look. Bronson versus Ashante Adonis. Remember when they tried to make Adonis happen also? I guess another repackage and music for him. We had a nasty senton and then the tsunami for the win. This was quick. Io is walking to the ring. She goes. She puts a chair down. She heard what Tony said. Hit my music. So she goes. Yeah, she says hit my music at gorilla position. Goes to the ring, grabs a chair, calls out Tony Storm. Mercedes Martinez attacks. Good to see her back. She hits a Death Valley driver into the plexiglass, and then Io is sent through the bottom of the commentary table, so you can see like it's not very like well put together. She just went right through it. Good for her getting out of that retribution shit. That stuff was terrible. And luckily she's not. Well, hopefully she's not going to get buried in NXT because of it. Once again, the last shot of the Garganos says the last gift is to Candice. He says, I hate wheels, but here, and gives her a broken wheel. And it's because it's the last part of Shotzi's tank. And Austin has they go to take a picture and he has like a scoop of whey protein in his mouth and it puffs out. It looks really funny. Timothy Thatcher versus Leon Ruff, as he indicated earlier today. Earlier that night, he's gonna beat up Ruff. He's in total control. Puts a chair on the ramp for Ciampa, assuming. Inside cradle by Ruff for the win, though, which is crazy. Thatch catches him on the outside for the beatdown. Ciampa slides in for a Willow's Bell, says, I'll see you in the fight pit. So, once again, Thatcher will be in the fight pit against Ciampa. That's pretty cool, because a lot of the times we were thinking, who else would be in the fight pit? Obviously Thatcher, but what other wrestlers would be in there with him? Because so far it was just Riddle and Thatcher, which was a banger of a match. Damian Priest vignette about Cross, says he'll punk him out in front of the world. Loomis is drawing out the matches for New Year's Evil, and then one of the drawings he has is for Rhea versus Raquel Gonzalez, and that'll be apparently a last woman standing match, which I think is awesome. Tyler Ross versus Arya Daivari from 205. Bivens over to commentary. Rust working over the arm. He hits what looks like to be like a Hell's Gate. Daivari gets to the ropes, and then we get that flip snapmare, and then kind of like a Rings of Saturn variation for the tap out win. Ruff coming out of Regal's office backstage says he has a rematch with Johnny for the North American title next week. Cross vignette on Damian Priest now says Priest dug himself a hole that he can't get out of, and that he'll take back what he never lost. And there's a picture of him with the title. And then our main event, we get Cole versus Dream. Dream with the kind of half jobber entrance. He's already in the ring, but his music is fading off. Dream mocks Cole and catches a pump kick. Dunn attacks Strong back at ringside. Dream is in control during picture-in-picture. Dream misses Purple Rainmaker. We get a bicycle pump kick, and then an Ushigoroshi by Cole for a 2 count. Strong and Dunn are set for next week. Axe handle to the outside counter with a super kick to the gut. Dream looks actually hurt there. Super kick, and then a figure 4 for Cole. Dream is able to get to the ropes. We get a Purple Rainmaker by Dream. He hits that for a 2 count. Eventually goes for another, but gets a super kick, and then a last shot by Cole for the win. I don't know what this match did at all for anybody. So, yeah. We then get Christmas Day. Also, happy holidays to anyone who celebrates Christmas. So we had a Christmas Day Smackdown that came after the NFL game where I'm in the finals of my fantasy football league, and I also had Alvin Kamara scored 6 touchdowns, but now I might actually lose because Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins decided to suck. That's a different story. Universal title match. In a cage match, we get Roman versus KO. We start out hot. We don't even get no promos, no nothing, just straight out cage match. And I think that was obviously by design to come after football, get people engaged, let them see what's going on, don't bore them with promos. And then they keep saying that it's a level playing field because it's a cage match. Jay can just climb in. Jay can be on the outside, which we will see. It's so stupid. Don't insult our intelligence. It just frustrates me. KO showing the effects of TLC, but in control early. Pop-up powerbomb counter with a leg drop for a 2 count. That looked really cool. Frog splash by KO for a 2 count. Super kick countered into a sit-out powerbomb for a 2 count. Pop-up powerbomb by KO for a 2 count. And then Cole's like, he hit him with his best shot. Pop-up powerbomb isn't his best shot, Michael Cole. It's the stunner right now. Twisting avalanche fisherman buster by KO for a 2 count. Holy shit, that looked awesome. He misses a stunner, catches a Superman punch for a 2 count. Roman just completely snaps, gets super aggressive, puts on a guillotine while holding through the ropes. KO is able to drop down and pull Roman's neck across the ropes so that he's choking out Roman, so Roman has to break up the guillotine. Countered spear with a stunner for a 2 count. Now he's hit everything he's got, Cole. KO attempts to climb out. Roman gets his leg. Super kick off the ropes. They're like basically standing on the ropes fighting. Roman, and then the senton is blocked with the knees. Spear for a 2 count. KO is busted open on the top of his head, just a little bit though. Roman attempts to leave. KO snaps. He's just beating the shit out of him. Jay tries to stop KO, but gets a door in the face. Another missed spear. Another stunner. Then Jay reaches through the gate, through the chain link. Takes forever to cuff KO to the thing, but there's not enough slack for KO to get his feet down, so he can get his legs out, but not his feet down. Roman kind of realizes this, puts on a little smug smile, and takes 1 step down each of the stairs for the win. And while this is going on, KO is calling him a little bitch. And the fact that they piped in "You Suck" chants was really weird. Asuka, Charlotte are out to the ring. Barely a word out before Bayley comes out. Bayley's still rocking the captain band, which I like. But right before she really gets it going, Sasha comes out. Then Bianca. Then Carmella comes out. She calls them all bitches. Some corny line. Sasha pushes her. So then we get the women's tag team title match. Asuka and Flair versus Sasha and Bianca versus Carmella and Bayley. This was just like, I understand you want to get all your top talent out, but this just made no sense to me. Riot Squad are watching backstage. They should have been involved in this. They've actually won the past couple weeks. We got a really cool standoff between Flair and Bianca, showing off their abilities there. It breaks down on the outside. Belly to Bayley, whatever you want to call it, on Asuka for a 2 count. Asuka, smart tag to Bianca because it's an elimination match. Sasha frog splash on Bayley for the elimination, so Bayley once again just taking pins. We get a tilt-a-whirl into a bank statement on Flair. Flair battles out of it. Figure 4 on Sasha. Bianca uses her hair to get Sasha to the corner, so kind of uses it and pulls her in, which I thought was really creative. We get a Meteor, breaks the figure 4. Sasha knocked off and takes out Reginald. I didn't see exactly what happened, but it didn't look like Sasha was hurt as bad as they made it out. Bayley distracting Bianca now. Bianca powers Asuka into a sit-out powerbomb for a 2 count. And then we get a code breaker into a natural selection on Bianca for the win. So I'm fine with that because that was 2 really good moves on Bianca, and she's basically alone. So I'm cool with that. Street Profits going over what's left on SmackDown. They hear Sammy chewing out a social media production assistant. They were going to give him a Christmas gift. And he was like, all right, fine, give it to me. And it turns out it was a shirt that says, I was the Intercontinental Champ, because he had that shirt last week that said, I am the Intercontinental Champion. And he's like, they're all laughing. And then he's like, you're not funny. And walks off. Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. Jey attacks him on the ramp. The refs try to break it up. Bryan slammed on the ramp. So we come back from break. Bryan, who literally looks really hurt, pulls himself into the ring to fight. Bryan gets a second win. Samoan drop by Jey for a 2 count. Jey dropped to the floor, hurts his ankle. Bryan dive, barely connects, and he hits the commentary desk, so he's selling that. We get an avalanche backdrop driver by Bryan. Back from break, we get Bryan attacking the leg of Jey. Frankensteiner by Bryan for a 2 count. Yes kicks with a little something extra there. A knee plus is counted into a super kick, or 2 super kicks. Splash connects, but Jey favors the leg, and the time it takes him to get over for the cover is enough for Bryan to kick out at 2. We get another splash tap, countered into a yes lock. Jey breaks, but Bryan gets a half crab, and then Jey gets to the ropes. That was a really cool sequence there. And then they're just brawling, hitting the shit out of each other. Real heavy shots by Jey. Eventually, Bryan battles out, hits a knee plus for the win. So good for Daniel Bryan. He needs it. Backstage interview with Bryan. Issue with Jey is behind him. Well, he's not sure, but he said what's next for him. Something he's never done before is win a Royal Rumble. So he announces his entry. Sammy interrupts. He blames Bryan for everything that happened. He said you stooged to management. Karma will take care of Bryan. And I don't know, Bryan has a little corny dad thing. Like Santa didn't give him a PS5 or whatever the kids are wanting these days. We then get our main event, the Lumberjack match. Sammy versus Big E. The heels attack Big E on the outside. Muffler stretch attempt. Sammy gets to the ropes. Garza, Gulak, Lindsay, and Akira are all Lumberjacks. They're from Raw, but I guess it's because Rey Mysterio and the rest of them didn't want to be a part of this. The faces aren't helping, which I thought was funny. Sammy hits a tope con hero, which is not something he's done in a while. Back in the ring, Big E hits his belly to bellies. Haluva kick countered into a Uranagi for a 2 count. The faces grab Sammy, bring him back to the ring. Sunset flip powerbomb by Sammy for a 2 count. That was pretty cool. Spear through the ropes. That is so dangerous every time he does it. The Lumberjacks eventually start to brawl. Sammy tries to flee. Apollo uses some real tracking speed and gets him, knocks him down, and they all put him back in. They throw him back into the ring. What's his name? Big E hits a belly to belly, then a big ending for the win. He's your new Intercontinental Champion. It was a really nice moment with him and Corey. I know they have this rivalry between them, but he was getting in his face. Corey stood up, shook his hand. He said, "Let's do this. Go do this now." I really enjoyed that, especially because you can tell they have a genuine friendship, and obviously Big E busts his balls all the time. They celebrate in the ring with the roster. They're putting him on his shoulders, and then you see Sammy on the outside absolutely crying, which I thought was funny. So there you have it. There is your WWE Week in Review. As always, I give my match of the week. That's definitely going to be the Universal title cage match between Roman and KO, Kevin Owens. I mean, normally, people don't like to see those rematches literally days after a pay-per-view, but this one was just fantastic. Both selling the effects of it, both showing that Roman will do anything to win, and KO is just an absolute fighter, and believable that he can beat him and that he probably should have won. So I like that, and so I mean, a really somber, time right now. The loss of Brodie Lee, Jon Huber. Luke Harper, however you knew him, really sad for his friends, his family, wife. I believe he had 2 kids. I'm not exactly sure. I know he had some children, but yeah, just absolutely devastated for them. The AEW family, just really, really rough. I know AEW will handle it the right way, however they decide to go from there. I feel for a lot of the guys that were working with him, especially some of them in the Dark Order, just coming up, getting to learn from him and kind of, him putting them over like that. And it's just great. But yeah, I hope, otherwise I hope you enjoyed your holidays. And as always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. So be safe, love each other, and bye now. Tell someone you love them.